Now, art is not always political, games are not always political, and I am sick and tired of journalists saying that these things are and that there's no way around it, that you damn gamers just have to accept that everything that you love is filled with politics. Now, journalists are yet again invoking the name of Gamergate, spreading the propaganda of people like Anita Sarkeesian, Zoe Quinn, and all of the other people who misrepresent Gamergate, saying that it was only a hate campaign. Now, the Daily Dot actually put out this article, which goes on to attack games, saying that Subverse's Arc Warhammer controversy shows that porn games are always political, and even though they put porn in the title just for clicks, they go on to attack all games, not just porn games. So they go on to say, Studio FAO is the team behind Subverse, the adult games world's highly anticipated adult video game, but after the team organized an exclusive first look preview with the YouTuber Arc Warhammer, the studio found itself in an intense and apparently unexpected controversy over his far-right politics. A company shouldn't have to worry, in my opinion, about showing special gameplay to a specific YouTuber. If they pick the YouTuber, clearly they like his content. People should be judged based off of their content, not their political outlooks. But it says, Subverse is a tactical role-playing game where players explore the galaxy along with the sexiest and deadliest waifus they can recruit. If you can see, wearing my special waifu sweater for this. This game does sound really cool, I'll be honest. I've been watching it for a while, keeping up with the news, keeping up with the Kickstarter, and it does look pretty interesting. I mean, of course, it's filled with sexy waifus and guns and space and stuff, so most of us are going to be pretty interested in that. But apparently, the Daily Dot's taking a little bit of offense to this game. It says Subverse earned over $2.2 million on Kickstarter in April 2019, making it one of the most successful adult game Kickstarters in the site's history, let alone one of the most popular video games ever crowdfunded. And there's a lot of interest and money riding on its success. Now, Arc Warhammer is a notorious far-right YouTuber in the wargaming 40k community and the Total War fandoms. In June, he talked about Creative Assembly, which is the Total War developer, talking about Black Lives Matter. Now, this video isn't really about the Arc Warhammer situation itself, but the things that some of these journalists are saying about games being political. We're looking at someone being canceled in real time, and while I do disagree with some of the things that he said, he's allowed free speech, and I'd never try to deplatform someone over his opinion. This isn't about agreeing or disagreeing with him, though. It's about people canceling others over having their own opinions, and they're allowed to, as long as they're not hurting anyone else. I just wish outrage mobs on social media understood that, but we are going to continue with the article. It says, after facing right-wing backlash for Studio FAO's original post, FAO-chan published a second post arguing that Subverse is a game for getting off on sex and not politics, and the Daily Dot took quite offense to this. The apolitical route, FAO-chan argued, is the best for everyone, as Studio FAO does not want to offend any fans of Arch, and the company loves all of its fans regardless of political affiliation. I commend them for saying that, truly, because too many times we see developers saying, if you don't like our political opinions, screw you. Don't buy our game. You are not welcome in our community. It is refreshing to see a developer stand up for people who just want to play a damn video game with sexy waifus and space and fighting and combat and all of these fun things. I do truly like that they're saying, hey, we're just trying to make a video game here. Enjoy the game. But Studio FAO's reasoning is flawed, it says. There is no such thing as a lack of political affiliation in art because art by nature is political. It represents human emotions, feelings, and thought, which is influenced by our socio-culture surroundings, and to choose political neutrality is to align with the status quo, one that is particularly influenced by, of course, all of the things that you can guess: misogyny, racism, homophobia, transphobia, among other forms of bigotry. This is so stupid. Scrolling down, it says, writing for The Outline, Josh Tucker similarly identifies how the games industry is not just political, but innately conservative. Major multi-billion-dollar game companies, or the AAA games industry, have not just successfully suppressed labor powers in games, its management is both tremendously risk-averse and brutally neoliberal. In order to maintain profit, games rely on a vast heterogeneous player base to pay off of their massive investments, but are more intent than ever on accommodating their zealous, orthodox wing. This is so hypocritical, this part about the AAA games industry. AAA companies are relentlessly attacked when they don't include left-leaning politics or politics at all, just like right now, into their games, which is why this article is just so damn hypocritical. But scrolling down, I can't show that picture on YouTube, that's for sure. It says, when developers avow that they are apolitical or politically neutral, they are trying to cater to that zealous orthodox wing. Any expression of left-leaning politics is antagonistic to the status quo and thus sales from gamer boys. So for many, it's easy to write off the Subverse controversy as drama, but over the past decade, we've seen how niche subcultures are incubators for far-right radicalization. They go on to evoke the name of Gamergate, talking about people who apparently built their platforms, rallying around Gamergate, like Mike Cernovich, The Quartering, Sargon Avocad, Sophia Nartwitz, all of these people. They say this wasn't a coincidence, but a strategy. In his book Antifa, the Anti-Fascist Handbook, anti-fascist historian identifies how the alt-right infiltrates alternative subcultures and communities in order to bolster its ranks. The alt-right does this by targeting frustrated, racist white people and their socio-culture anxieties and bigotries, radicalizing them into a base that can both claim these subcultures as their own and feed them into a larger alt-right community. I think truly that it's perfectly fine for a company to say, we don't want our game or our company to be about politics. That's their choice and it should be respected. Instead, journalists are saying, no, political take is still political. I mean, how empty-headed are these people truly? They blow out of proportion internet radicalization here, and they even say it by bringing up Gamergate. This article refers to Gamergate as only a hate campaign, which isn't what it was. It's a gross mistake. Maybe there were people in Gamergate that fall into this category, but it wasn't just about hate or about toxicity, you know. It was just as much about accountability in games journalism as it was about anything else, and they fail purposely to mention this because it destroys their narrative, and that's all that they care about is their narrative and pushing it. The article goes on to basically end with, in other words, it matters what happens in the porn games world because adult games is another space where recruitment for the far right happens. And it matters what happens with Subverse because Subverse is not just another random game. For many gamers, it's a sign that adult games can compete with mainstream multi-million-dollar games developers. Subverse's Kickstarter landed coverage at Polygon, PC Gamer, GamesIndustry.biz, a rarity for the adult games industry. Yeah, it's because a lot of these people have a political leaning and they don't want to support these type of games. These are the same people who once fought for women being able to wear what they want, and now they're saying, no, we change our mind, cover them up, they cannot be sexualized, they cannot wear that tank top because that's way too inappropriate. But it says whether the studio likes it or not, the game development studio is an industry leader now. By ignoring the ways politics affect its game and its community, Studio FAO obfuscates how politics innately inform the art we consume and enjoy. It gives fodder to people like Arch who only feel emboldened after seeing the studio back down. And by treating no political affiliation as a real political affiliation, the studio does a disservice to the marginalized fans and adult creators who are working outside of the status quo and are trying to create a more inclusive adult games community. Now, these people are just continuing to blow out of proportion the radicalization of right-wing politics because it doesn't fit into their narrative. Art isn't political in nature. Games aren't political in nature, and while some people may create art or games with politics in mind, it's these things that aren't always political that we have to appreciate, and it's so frustrating to see people say things like this that are untrue. Just let developers create the games that they want. Let artists create what their hearts want and stop trying to control and twist things to fit your narrative. But that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. If you enjoyed it and found it important and informative, please make sure to give it a like and share it. And of course, if you did not, make sure to give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I will talk to you all again in the next video really soon.